Hey coin lovers, welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video, we're revealing Top 1. The 1996p Roosevelt dime is a 10-cent coin issued by the United States Mint and features the portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, first introduced in 1946. Just 1 year after Roosevelt's death, the Roosevelt dime was designed by John R. Sinek, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. The 1996 version marks the 50th anniversary of the series and continues the legacy of honoring Roosevelt not only for his presidency but also for his pivotal role in founding the March of Dimes, a foundation originally created to combat polio, a disease Roosevelt personally battled for much of his life. The P Mint mark on your coin indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 1.45 billion dimes in 1996 because of this high mintage. The 1996p Roosevelt dime is not considered rare or scarce, and in circulated condition, it typically holds only face value 10 cents. However, collectors still seek high-grade uncirculated or proof versions for complete sets, especially coins with full bands or brilliant luster. The obverse front of the coin features Roosevelt's left-facing profile with the inscriptions, "Liberty" along the left edge, "In God We Trust" just beneath his chin, the date 1996, and the mint mark P near the base of Roosevelt's neck. Beneath the date is the designer's initials JS4, John Setnock. The portrait itself is subtle, with smooth transitions, in contour and a compact layout, intended to be clean and legible even under heavy circulation. The reverse back of the coin is equally symbolic. It features a torch in the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace and an oak branch on the right for strength and independence. Around the design are the words United States of America along the top, one dime on the bottom, and E pluribus unum across the middle. This reverse design has remained essentially unchanged since 1946, and is celebrated for its elegant balance and meaningful symbolism. The coin itself is composed of a clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to an inner core of pure copper, which gives it durability and a silvery appearance. It weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and features a redded edge grooved. Despite being struck for mass circulation, some 1996 dimes were also made in proof form, particularly the 1996 W. Roosevelt dime, struck at the West Point Mint and included in special collector sets. That 1996 W proof dime, with its W mint mark and limited mintage of only 1.457 million pieces, is highly collectible and worth far more than face value, often $15 to $30 USD or more, depending on condition. However, the 1996 P you mentioned is the standard business strike and in circulated condition. It is extremely common. Nonetheless, collectors sometimes look for errors or special characteristics in these coins. Examples include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or full torch, also known as full bands or FB dimes, coins where the horizontal bands on the torch are fully struck and show sharp lines. These full band examples are usually only found in mint state MS65 or higher grades and can carry a premium, possibly $5, $25 plus if certified by a professional grading service. The vast majority of 1996 P dimes, however, will remain in pocket change, piggy banks, or coin jars, rarely commanding more than their face value unless in pristine, uncirculated condition. Uncirculated condition. Historically and educationally, the Roosevelt dime is a coin that tells the story of American health advocacy and mid-20th century resilience. Roosevelt's image reminds users not just of his four-term presidency or leadership through World War II, but also his personal battle with polio and his humanitarian efforts to combat it. The March of Dimes, originally founded as the Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, was one of the first large-scale public health fundraising efforts in America and changed the way the nation approached disease and disability. The name March of Dimes itself cleverly references this 10-cent coin. People were encouraged to donate a dime to help find a cure for polio. Thus, every Roosevelt dime serves not just as currency but also as a tribute to one of the most impactful public figures and health movements of the 20th century. To conclude, the 1996 P Roosevelt dime may be common in number, but it carries deep cultural and historical resonance. For most people, it is a simple coin used in daily transactions. For numismatists and history buffs, however, it is part of a long-running series that reflects American values, resilience, and the enduring impact of leadership. Though not typically valuable unless in high-grade condition or with special attributes, the 1996p remains a fundamental piece in U.S. coin collecting, especially for those seeking to build a full dated mint mark set of Roosevelt dimes, whether viewed under a magnifying glass for full band details or passed unknowingly from hand to hand in daily commerce. This small coin serves as a tiny but potent reminder of America's progress, both economic and social. Top 2. The 1983 P. Roosevelt dime is a small yet enduring piece of US coinage history, representing not only the technical and artistic standards of modern American minting but also a continued tribute to one of the most influential U.S. presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the P mint mark beneath the year signifies its origin, and it was part of a massive mintage year in which over 892 million dimes were produced at that facility alone. First issued in 1946, shortly after Roosevelt's death in 1945, the Roosevelt dime replaced the winged Liberty Head Mercury dime, and was chosen not just to commemorate Roosevelt's presidency, but specifically to honor his leadership in the fight against polio and the creation of the March of Dimes, a public health campaign that asked Americans to donate one dime to help find a cure. The 1983 P. Roosevelt dime carries forward that legacy while reflecting the technological changes in minting and coin production that had evolved over the mid-20th century. During the 1980s, the United States Mint had fully transitioned into using the copper-nickel-clad composition rather than silver. As was common before 1965, the 1983 P dime consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a silver-like appearance while being relatively inexpensive to produce. The obverse front, the 1983 P dime, features a left-facing bust of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Senack, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The portrait is clean and compact, emphasizing Roosevelt's high forehead, prominent nose, and the serious, determined expression he often carried during his presidency, especially during the trying times of the Great Depression and World War II. The inscriptions include Liberty on the left, In God We Trust just below Roosevelt's chin, the year 1983, and the mint mark P near the lower edge of his neckline. The reverse back of the coin showcases a classic and elegant design featuring a torch in the center, a symbol of liberty flanked by an olive branch on the left, representing peace, and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing strength and independence. Above are the words United States of America, and below is the denomination, 1 dime. Across the base of the torch is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design remains unchanged since the series' inception and has stood the test of time as a simple but symbolically rich layout that celebrates core American values. Despite its immense circulation, the 1983 P. Roosevelt dime has certain peculiarities that make it interesting to collectors. In most cases, it is considered a common coin with low numismatic value in circulated condition, typically only worth its face value of 10 cents. However, 1983 was one of the years during which the U.S. Mint did not issue official mint sets, which means that uncirculated examples from that year are much harder to find than other modern dates. This makes high-red mint state 1983 P dimes more desirable to collectors who are assembling a full Dayton mint mark set. Collectors particularly seek out coins graded MS65 or higher, especially those with attractive luster and strong strike details. Additionally, there are specialized varieties and errors associated with some 1983 Roosevelt dimes, such as off-center strikes, die clashes, doubled dies, and clipped planchettes. While rare, such errors can significantly raise the coin's value, sometimes from a few dollars up to $50, $100 or more, depending on the type and condition. One specific area collectors examine is the torch bands on the reverse. If the horizontal bands at the top and bottom of the torch are fully separated and well struck, the coin may be designated as having full bands FB or full torch FT, which are considered premium strikes and can command higher prices in the collector market. Beyond its collectible aspects, the 1983 P. Roosevelt dime remains a small but meaningful tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt's lasting legacy. Few other U.S. presidents have had such a profound impact on both domestic and global affairs. Roosevelt led America through the worst economic crisis in its history and the greatest global war it ever faced, instituting landmark programs like the New Deal, Social Security, and countless reforms that reshaped the federal government's role in society. Even more personally, Roosevelt's own battle with polio, a disease that left him paralyzed from the waist down, fueled his passion for public health and his belief in science and community-driven solutions. The creation of the March of Dimes, which ultimately led to the development of the polio vaccine, ties directly to the symbolism of the dime itself. That connection remains poignant, especially as medical research and public health continue to be pressing concerns today. From a cultural standpoint, the Roosevelt dime is also a reflection of post-war American values. It celebrates leadership, liberty, and peace in a compact design that millions of Americans handle every day, often without a second thought. It's a coin that has survived the Cold War, digital revolutions, and even changes in physical cash usage, yet it continues to circulate with dignity. The 1983 P. Roosevelt dime, specifically, serves as a snapshot of early 1980s America, a time marked by political transition, economic recovery, and growing national confidence after the struggles of the 1970s. Whether it was used to buy a pack of gum, make a phone call, or get change at a soda machine. The 1983p dime tells a story of an everyday America powered by ordinary people. In conclusion, while the 1983p Roosevelt dime may be a humble high-minage coin not typically worth more than its face value, its historical, artistic, and symbolic significance far outweighs its market price. It connects generations of Americans to a president who reshaped the country and caused the fight against polio that unified the nation. For collectors, especially those assembling complete sets or specializing in modern U.S. coinage, the 1983p dime holds a unique position due to its scarcity in uncirculated condition and the absence of a government-issued mint set that year. And for casual observers, it remains a reliable piece of change that silently carries decades of American legacy in every detail of its design. Top 3. The 1995p Roosevelt dime, a 10-cent coin minted in Philadelphia, indicated by the P mint mark, is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series that began in 1946, 1 year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death. The decision to feature Roosevelt on the dime was not only a tribute to his four-term presidency during the Great Depression and World War II, but also a specific nod to his role in founding the March of Dimes, a campaign that mobilized Americans to donate dimes to fund research for a cure to polio, the disease that had affected Roosevelt himself. The Roosevelt dime replaced the beloved Mercury dime, and its design was created by John R. Sinek, the U.S. Mint's chief engraver. Although the Roosevelt dime's basic design has remained unchanged since its inception, each date and mint combination, including the 1995p, reflects a particular chapter in modern American numismatic history. In 1995, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1.1 billion Roosevelt dimes, making it a common coin in circulation. However, for collectors, especially those building full Dayton mint mark sets or searching for ultra-high-grade examples, the 1995p still holds significance. The obverse front of the 1995p Roosevelt dime features a left-facing profile of President Roosevelt. The inscription, "Liberty," runs along the left rim, while the motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed in smaller letters just beneath the chin. The date in 1995 appears to the right, just under the neckline, and the P mint mark is slightly above the final digit of the date, denoting its production in Philadelphia. At the base of the bust you'll find the initials JS for John Sinnock, the coin's designer. Though the portrait is somewhat compact and smooth compared to other U.S. coinage, it's instantly recognizable and steeped in symbolism, honoring not only Roosevelt's leadership but also his personal resilience in the face of disability. The reverse back of the coin features a torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch on the left symbolizing peace, and an oak branch on the right symbolizing strength and independence. Above the design is the inscription "United States of America," with E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one across the middle, and the denomination 1 dime at the bottom. This elegant and symbolic reverse has remained untouched for nearly 8 decades, a testament to its timelessness. The 1995p Roosevelt dime is struck from a copper-nickel-clad composition, a durable and economical metal structure. Introduced after 1965 to replace the previous 90% silver alloy, the clad coin features an inner core of pure copper and an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery finish. It has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, a weight of 2.27 grams, and a reeded edge. While these specifications may seem trivial to a casual observer, they're essential for collectors, especially when searching for mistrack coins, off-center errors, or planchette anomalies. Although the 1995p Roosevelt dime was primarily made for circulation and is extremely common in pocket change, higher-grade coins, especially those graded MS66 or above mint state, meaning uncirculated condition, are more scarce and can command premiums in the collector market. Coins with flawless surfaces, bright luster, and sharp strikes can be worth $5, $25 plus USD, and even more if designated as having full bands FB or full torch FT, terms used to describe well-struck horizontal lines on the torch on the reverse. Full bands coins are particularly attractive to collectors because they indicate that the coin was struck with fresh dies and under ideal pressure. Another intriguing aspect of the 1995p Roosevelt dime is its modern collectability status. While it may not boast the historical mystique of pre-1965 silver dimes or rare varieties like the 1949's full band or the 1982 Nopi dime, it remains an important date for those assembling complete sets or focusing on high-grade modern issues. With the rise in popularity of registry sets, competitive coin sets graded and ranked by third-party grading services like PCGs and NGC, even modern commendate dimes like the 1995p have gained attention, especially in grades MS67 and MS68, which are challenging to find due to bag marks, weak strikes, or other minting flaws common in mass production. As of recent years, top-graded examples with full torch details can fetch well over $100, $200. Though this applies only to the best of the best certified coins, For average circulated 1995p dimes, the value remains 10 cents, but their educational and historical worth far exceeds their face value. Beyond the numbers, the Roosevelt dime series as a whole offers a fascinating study in how a nation honors its leaders and ideals through its currency. Franklin D. Roosevelt is one of only a few U.S. presidents to appear on a coin in the same year he passed away, a mark of his significance. His leadership during two of the most challenging periods in American history, the Great Depression and World War II, left a lasting legacy that resonates through programs like Social Security, FDIC, and numerous infrastructure and reform efforts. By putting Roosevelt on the dime, the U.S. honored not just his policies but also his personal courage in dealing with polio, which made the choice of the dime and the association with the March of Dimes both symbolic and poetic. The fact that billions of Americans have carried Roosevelt's image in their pockets since 1946 speaks to the role of coins as both tools of commerce and carriers of national memory. The 1995p issue, sitting closer to the end of the 20th century, represents the continuation of this legacy into the modern world, into an age of the internet, cell phones, and digital payments, where coins still serve as physical reminders of American heritage. Top 4. The 1976 D Roosevelt dime, struck at the Denver Mint, is a significant coin not just in the Roosevelt series but also in the context of U.S. numismatic history, as it shares its birth year with America's bicentennial celebrations, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Although the Roosevelt dime series did not receive a special bicentennial design like the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins did in 1976, the 1976D dime still holds historical importance because it was minted during a patriotic surge in American culture and coinage. The Denver Mint produced approximately 568 million of these coins, making them widely circulated and common in pocket change even today. The D mint mark appears on the obverse front of the coin, just to the right of the date 1976, under the neckline of President Roosevelt's portrait, despite being overshadowed by its larger bicentennial cousins, notably the 1776 to 1976 dual-dated quarter and Eisenhower dollar. The 1976D Roosevelt dime remains an interesting collectible for those focusing on high-grade examples. Full date, sets, or coins struck in historically significant years. The Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946, replaced the Mercury dime and was chosen specifically to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year prior. Roosevelt was widely admired for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, but also deeply connected to the American people through his battle with polio, which he contracted in the 1920s. His struggle with the disease led him to found the March of Dimes, a public health movement that encouraged people to donate dimes toward polio research, hence the fitting tribute of placing him on the 10-cent piece. The design of the dime was created by John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, and his initials JS can be seen at the base of Roosevelt's neck on the obverse. The 1976D issue carries all the standard design elements, profiling the obverse, with inscriptions including Liberty, In God We Trust, the year 1976, and the mint mark D. The reverse of the coin features a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength, symbols that resonate deeply with both Roosevelt's legacy and the ideals celebrated during the bicentennial year. Like all post-1965 dimes, the 1976D Roosevelt dime is made of copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and features a reeded edge. While it lacks silver content, unlike pre-1965 dimes, the copper-nickel structure has helped it endure decades of use without excessive wear. Though the coin was made for circulation, collectors pay attention to certain quality characteristics, particularly whether a coin is in mint state condition, unworn and uncirculated, and whether it shows full bands FB on the torch. Full bands dimes display complete and well-separated horizontal lines across the torch on the reverse and are a sign of a strong strike, which adds numismatic value. A 1976D Roosevelt dime in average circulated condition is worth face value $0 days USD day, but uncirculated coins can be worth $1 or $5. And certified MS66 or MS67 FB specimens can fetch $20, $100 or more, depending on market demand and overall eye appeal. Collectors assembling high-grade registry sets or focusing on coins from the mid-1970s may actively seek top-quality examples. The cultural backdrop of 1976 makes the 1976D Roosevelt dime even more fascinating. The U.S. bicentennial sparked a national celebration of heritage, identity, and constitutional values. Americans were encouraged to reflect on the country's progress over 2 centuries, and coins were at the center of that reflection. Though the Roosevelt dime didn't receive a special bicentennial reverse as some citizens had hoped, its presence in everyday transactions still connected ordinary people to their nation's founding ideals. The torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the dime's reverse took on extra meaning during 1976, symbolizing the freedoms secured 200 years prior and the strength and peace Americans still sought to maintain during the Cold War era. The economy of the 1970s was turbulent, with inflation, unemployment, and energy crises affecting millions, and coins like the dime became part of the daily survival of ordinary Americans, whether for gas, food, phone calls, or vending machines. In the realm of error coins, some 1976D Roosevelt dimes are found with die cracks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or clipped planchettes, which are highly sought after by error collectors. While not extremely rare, these errors add depth and excitement to a coin that is otherwise considered a common issue. Also, due to the massive mintage, most dimes from this year show typical circulation wear, so finding one with sharp detail, satiny surfaces, and no contact marks is increasingly challenging as time goes on. PCGs and NGC have graded thousands of examples, but very few reach the MS68 level, and those few coins sell for premium prices due to their rarity in such high condition. In conclusion, the 1976D Roosevelt dime may not be a silver coin or a dramatic design change, but it embodies a period of American pride, presidential legacy, and numismatic continuity. It sits at the crossroads of American history and coinage, a modest, everyday piece of metal that carries the memory of a president who championed the common man. A time when America looked back on 2 centuries of growth, and a series that remains central to us coin collections. Whether nestled in a coin folder, lost in a couch cushion, or preserved in a high-grade slab, the 1976D dime reminds us of the power of small denominations to carry big stories. Top 5. The 1997D Roosevelt dime, struck at the Denver Mint, is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. This dime represents not only a physical medium of commerce, but also a tribute to a man who led the U.S. through some of its darkest periods, the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt, who contracted polio in 1921 and remained physically disabled for much of his life, became the symbolic figurehead of hope and strength. His involvement with the March of Dimes, a foundation created to fight polio, made its placement on the 10-cent coin both poetic and meaningful. By 1997, the Roosevelt dime design had already been in use for over 50 years, retaining its original, artistic rendering by John R. Setnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The obverse front of the 1997D dime features a left-facing bust of Roosevelt, with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year 1997. Just above the last digit of the date, the D mint mark appears, indicating that the coin was minted in Denver. The designer's initials JSR are subtly etched beneath Roosevelt's neckline. On the reverse back of the coin, a flaming torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right is shown, representing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. Around the edge are the inscriptions "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and the denomination 1 dime. The 1997D Roosevelt dime, like all post-1965 dimes, is struck from a clad composition, made with an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel. This makes it highly durable, resistant to tarnish, and perfect for everyday use in a world that increasingly relied on electronic and credit transactions yet still leaned on coins for small purchases. Vending machines, parking meters, and coin-operated telephones. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with 118 grooves. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced over 1.4 billion 1997D dimes, approximately 1,477,484,000, to be exact, making it a very common issue in circulation. Its high mintage numbers mean that, in circulated condition, the 1997D Roosevelt dime is worth only its face value of 10 cents, and it is still frequently found in everyday change. However, this doesn't mean the coin is valueless to collectors. As with most modern clad coins, uncirculated examples, especially those that have been carefully preserved, can hold some collector premium, particularly if they are in extremely high grades, such as MS66, MS67, or MS68 professional grading. Services such as PCGs or NGC evaluate dimes based on their luster, strike, and absence of contact marks. Of special interest to collectors are full bands FB or full torch FT varieties designations, awarded to coins with clearly defined and fully separated horizontal bands across the torch on the reverse. These full strike coins indicate optimal die pressure and fresh dies, making them relatively rare even among uncirculated examples. A 1997D Roosevelt dime graded MS67 FB can command $25 to $100 or more, depending on eye appeal, while MS68 FB specimens are even scarcer and more valuable. These high-grade coins are usually found in mint sets or rolls saved by collectors shortly after release. From a historical and cultural perspective, The 1997D Roosevelt dime exists at the intersection of numismatic continuity and technological transition. The year 1997 was a time of booming technology, the rise of personal computers, the expansion of the internet, and the beginnings of a digital economy, yet Americans still relied heavily on physical currency for everyday transactions. The dime, being one of the smallest denominations, carried immense purchasing convenience and symbolic weight. The Roosevelt design, with its emphasis on courage and unity, still resonated with a population navigating change. That year, President Bill Clinton began his second term in office. The U.S. economy was thriving, and the nation stood at the cusp of the 21st century. Meanwhile, the Roosevelt dime continued to circulate daily in lunchrooms, laundromats, and toll booths, reinforcing the way American history and identity are literally carried in our pockets. Additionally, the rarecoin market for the 1997D Roosevelt dime includes interesting varieties such as off-center strikes, flipped planch, broad strikes, and die cracks. While rare, these mint errors are actively sought by collectors and can raise a dime's value from a few cents to several dollars or even more, depending on severity and visibility. Some double die obverse DDO or reverse DDO examples may exist, though they are not commonly catalogued for this year in mint. Errors must be authenticated by professional graders to fetch serious interest, but finding such anomalies adds a treasure hunt element to this humble coin. In summary, the 1997D Roosevelt dime is a modern-era coin that blends rich historical symbolism with widespread circulation. It is a part of an iconic American coin series that has remained unchanged in design for nearly 80 years, honoring a president who turned personal adversity into national action. While not rare in circulated form, this coin becomes highly collectible in gem uncirculated condition with full bands, and is a crucial piece in any Roosevelt dime data mint mark collection. It speaks to the enduring nature of coinage in both commerce and commemoration, offering a tangible connection between America's past, present, and future. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.